Well, Sam, I'm going to start it off with a little bourbon I think you might like. I mean, I think Music Row Bourbon is something I gave you once.
Yeah.
Gave a little sip, so let's get this thing going the
Cheers,
right way.
buddy.
Cheers, man. All right. So, you have been a touring guitarist for how many years?
Professionally, about 10 years.
And you were touring with Craig Morgan?
I was with Craig for 6 years, played in the band for 2.
Nice. So, how did you guys meet?
He came through my hometown, had a club in Grain Valley, Missouri, a little town off I-70 in Missouri, and they had a club there that would bring in nationals, and I was playing local spots in town and little bars and clubs and restaurants, and I got a call from a buddy of mine who had all the production inside of the venue, and hey, you want to open up for Craig Morgan? Sure. So had my little band that I was running around with there and playing some songs, and mostly old country, some original stuff. At the time I hadn't written as much then as I do now, but we'd throw 5 or 6 originals in there. The rest was some other country, and opened up for him, and we were doing a sound check. We knew some guys in the band. A good friend of ours, Mike Rogers.
Okay.
Chuck Ward was playing guitar at the time. And, hey, you want to open for Craig? Said, yeah, sure. And we kind of connected, and the guy who had all that equipment in there, they were like, hey, we're looking for a front of house guy. Would you be interested in doing it? And he said, yeah. And a year later, he called me and said, man, I don't know if you'll be interested in doing something like this, but we need a merch guy out here on the road with Craig Morgan. Would that be something you'd be interested in doing? And I thought, that might be kind of a cool way to get my foot in the door about, traveling around the country and stuff. And
so is this some kind of a Cole Swindell story?
Yeah,
with
kind of.
Yeah, with the whole Luke Bryan merch guy and off on his own?
That's right. And who else was it that sold for Garth?
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. It's so
I don't know all the merch guys
anyways,
that are
it's
out
the
there.
Cole Swindell thing, man, yeah. And so I did that for a couple years. Ended up kind of just working up the ladder. Craig said, hey, man, I need a new guitar tech and stage manager. Do you want to do it? I said, sure, I'll do it. And did that for 2 years, and some other opportunities opened up. Hey, how well do you know my songs? I said, I know all of them. And he said, well, guitar playing gig's yours if you want it. So I did acoustic guitar, mostly background vocals, played some banjo on some stuff.
So how much were you, as you were doing all those gigs for Craig and the guitar tech, the merch, the guitar tech thing, how much were you finding the time to actually write your own music, stay sharp with your craft as a guitarist and a songwriter, because that's a heavy workload when you're out there touring.
Yeah, it was the hardest thing was the stage manager deal. It was 2 buses and a semi truck, so that was basically me and the truck driver would run the semi truck together. It was the most unfun part, to be honest with you.
Right, for sure. It's scary. The whole thing, a lot of responsibility.
No, man, yeah, but I was playing in town, during the weeks, and then on the weekends I would go out with Craig. But if we were doing long runs and stuff, you find time to separate yourself and kind of type down the ideas that you've been inspired and thinking about along the way. I mean, it was I started having kids during the end of that and stuff, so I found myself coming up with those ideas that you kind of just got to separate yourself and find time for it, really.
And you've made the decision recently to pull away from touring with Craig to going out and being Sam Banks front of stage.
Yeah, and that kind of answers your question better. It's like there was nothing bad about being out with Craig. I enjoyed every second of it, but trying to find the time was just hard. I wanted to take more opportunities for myself and splitting the time up. But yeah, it was it's been a few months now since I did that. But yeah, branched off, man. It's like, I just wanted to be around more. And like I said, I have a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old son, and we had our 3-year-old during COVID, and I was around all the time for him.
Right.
And then when we had our 1-year-old last August, I kind of felt bad, I wasn't around as much, because I was still on the road and stuff. And I am now. It's just not with Craig,
Right.
So yeah, just finding time to split the two and prayed about it a lot, and just the gut feeling,
Yeah, no,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so now you're off of it 4 months, you're doing your own thing, you're trying to piece all of it together. What has been like the biggest struggle for you? All of a sudden you're like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm the artist. I'm going for it. I'm going to try to make a career of this.
Yeah.
What's been the most challenging, and then what's been the most kind of like energizing?
Yeah, I would say the most challenging thing was, the clout. I mean, you work for a Grand Ole Opry, remember?
Right.
He's been there for forever. However many top 10s he has, however many number 1s he has, and you're oh yeah, you play and you write with Craig, and you've been with him for 6 years. That's awesome. And then that's the cool part, but the hard part, because starting from the bottom of, and like I said, I've been doing this while I was with Craig,
Right.
But I guess necessarily not having that title behind you.
Right.
I don't work for Craig Morgan anymore,
Right.
or whatever, like the bigger stages and playing the Opry all the time, I can't even tell you how many times I've got to play the Grand Ole Opry with Craig. So, and now it's, it's not square one, it's just not on that level.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. So what's the most energizing with knowing that you're doing it and your career is your focus?
Yeah.
What's the most energizing?
The fact that I can do it on my own, it's, I've grown up playing guitar for folks, and, but being able to, finally live my dream and feel good about it.
Right.
And, sing my songs for people,
And when do you think you're going to start to really focus on kind of releasing your own music and putting it out there for people to start being Sam Banks fans?
Yeah, in my head, definitely before the end of the year.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, and if not, early into next year. I know I have some shows coming up that I'd really like to have all that out for, when I'm out there next year, they have something to grab onto after the show.
That's awesome. And what is 2024 looking like for you?
Right now, I'm just piling up a bunch of songs, man, and you might get that answer from a lot of songwriters in town who are like early in stages of putting a project out. But man, still just piling up these songs, and as shows are coming in, I'd like to get out on the road a little bit more and open.
You doing
up
a lot of
with folks.
solo writing, or are you doing a lot of co-writes?
I do a lot of solo stuff at the house, but since I am co-writing so much, I find myself starting something, and whoever I have, on the calendar coming up, like this would be perfect for them, or I'm thinking of, kind of how we would
Right.
mesh together. And so, yeah, I do a little bit of solo stuff, just starting it. I should be writing more on my own than I do.
Sure.
But I do a bunch of co-writing, man, right now. But yeah, a lot of the ideas that I start and stuff, I'll start at the house.
Well, I'll tell you what,
30 minutes.
from the time that I got a chance to meet you, I've been a Sam Banks fan. Literally Sam Banks, not even Sam Banks. Music, push that off to the side, because you're just a good guy.
Thank you.
And I think with what you're putting behind it, and obviously the support team that you have from all those years of hard work, because I mean the Craig Morgans of the world, they actually know who you are and how hard you're working, and know that you're going to go out and you're going to do it and you're going to be successful with, because you've done the grind. You understand the work that needs to go into it, and I'm excited to see what happens for you.
Thank you, man. It's been fun, and doing all those things on the road and not being in the front and center singing. I have been fortunate to meet a lot of cool people who are really supportive of the jump.
Yeah. A lot of people don't do it. A lot of people just sit back and it's, they might think the grass is greener on the other side, or a dream is on the other side of that fence, and they just don't do it just because that fear just binds them up, and they don't. But for you to just say, no, I'm doing it. Yeah,
it's always been the dream, man. When I first moved to Nashville, I worked at a Bass Pro Shops where I'm from, and they transferred me down when I moved, and I called my dad and I said, Dad, I'm quitting. I didn't come down here to work at Bass Pro.
Good for you.
I came down here to do music, so here we are.
Well, thanks for coming up to Interstate Music. I hope you enjoy the hell out of it.
It's a beautiful spot, man. Thanks for having me up.
I appreciate it, man.
Cheers,
man.
buddy. Sir.